Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. This is your lecture of grass anatomy for first professional students, and this is an introduction to the lower limb, and we will start also the gluteal region. I am Dr. Kalimullah, demonstrator, anatomy department, GKMC Swabi. The lower limb is directly attached here to the lower part of the axial skeleton that is called the sacrum, and it makes here a joint that is called the sacroiliac joint. Apart from the joint, the bones, the sacral and the iliac bones, these are attached by means of strong ligaments. These are called the sacrospinous, the sacrotuberous, and the sacroiliac ligaments. The it is also separated from the abdomen, the back, and the perineum by a continuous line. There are four components of the lower limb: the pelvic girdle or the hip girdle, the thigh, the leg, and the foot. The hip girdle is formed by two pelvic bones, in between which is the sacral bone, which is attached by means of the sacroiliac joint with the two pelvic bones. Anteriorly, the both of the pelvic bones they form a joint that is called the pubic symphysis, a symphysial joint. Functions of the lower limb. The body weight is transmitted through the acetabulum. Acetabulum is the part of the pelvic bone on both sides, a cup-like cavity in which the head of the femur fitted and forms the femoral joint. The propulsive activity is the activity through which the individual is thrown forward and movement is possible. The ischial tuberosity bears weight in sitting condition as is shown in this diagram by means of arrows. These ischial tuberosities are covered by the fat pads and the bursa in order to avoid friction of the skin against the surface and the ischial bone. The locomotion of the human being is possible by means of muscles and the ligaments. The pelvic bones contains, or the pelvic girdle contains viscera and protects the viscera. The viscera are rectum, the urinary bladder; in female, the female genital organs; and the important major blood vessels, the aorta and the inferior vena cava. The mobility, all types of mobility, the abduction, adduction, flexion, and extension are possible. The transitional regions, these are between the limb and the trunk. The trunk in the front and on the back. In the front, in the inguinal region, the structures from the abdomen are passed, as is shown in the diagram by means of a big arrow, and in the lower diagram, the inguinal region has been shown. This is the interior view, and in which the structures from above pass downward in the thigh region. And the gluteal region. The gluteal region is on the back, and structures on the back are passed through the greater sciatic foramen in the gluteal region on the back of the thigh. The gluteal region. The bones of the gluteal region are the sacrum, the hip bone, the upper end of the femur. The ligaments are the sacrotuberous, sacrospinous, and sacroiliac ligaments, as these are shown all in this particular diagram. The subcutaneous tissue of the gluteal region. You can very well see the extent of the gluteal region. If you concentrate upon the gluteal region in the diagram on the right side, there are the level of the iliac crest and shown by a straight dotted line, and lower down with the at the junction of the thigh, on the back of the thigh, you can see the gluteal fold. In between the gluteal fold and the dotted line, this entire portion, this entire region is called the gluteal region, and we will discuss about this particular region. The subcutaneous tissue is well developed and gives convexity to the gluteal region. The blood supply is from the superior and inferior gluteal arteries, and these are the branches of the internal iliac arteries. The lymphatics are drained into superficial inguinal lymph nodes. The cutaneous or sensory nerve supply of the gluteal region. Both of the right and the left gluteal regions, each of the region is divided into four quadrants regarding their nerve supply. The upper anterior quadrant, the lower anterior quadrant, the upper posterior quadrant, and the lower posterior quadrant. The anterior quadrant is supplied by the lateral cutaneous branch of subcostal nerve and the lateral cutaneous branch of the iliohypogastric nerve. The lower anterior quadrant is supplied by the posterior division of the lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh, which has L2 and L3 spinal segments. The upper posterior quadrant is supplied by the dorsal or the posterior primary rami of the lumbar 1, 2, and 3. The dorsal or posterior rami of S1, S2, S3 also supplies this particular quadrant. The lower posterior quadrant is supplied by the perforating cutaneous nerve, which is arising from segment S2 and S3, and by the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh, which arises from segment S1, S2, and S3. The muscles of the gluteal region, the superficial and the deep group. The superficial group forms the mass of the gluteal region, the entire mass, the bulge of the gluteal region. It is composed of three muscles. These are called glutei, and number wise these are the gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, and the gluteus minimus. The gluteus maximus is the extensor and the lateral rotator of the hip joint, and the gluteus medius and the gluteus minimus are abductor and medial rotators. The deep group, they adjust and stabilizes the hip joint, and they laterally rotates the thigh. These are the piriformis, the obturator internus, the gemelli, and the gemelli are two. These are the gemelli superior and the gemelli inferior, and the quadratus femoris muscle. The gluteus maximus, it arises from the ilium, the adjacent sacrum, and the coccyx. Upon the ilium bone, there are three lines: the posterior, anterior, and inferior gluteal line. From the posterior gluteal line, the gluteus maximus muscle arises. It inserts in the iliotibial tract and the gluteal tuberosity. The iliotibial tract goes downward and attaches upon the lateral aspect of the knee joint in order to fix the knee joint. The nerve supply is from the inferior gluteal nerve, and the blood supply is from the inferior and superior gluteal artery. Its function is it is hip extensor and hip abductor. The gluteus medius, it arises from the posterior ilium or the posterior iliac bone in between the anterior and the posterior gluteal line. It inserts upon the greater trochanter of the femur, and its nerve supply is from the superior gluteal nerve, and its blood supply is from the superior gluteal artery. The action is it is abductor and medial rotator of the thigh. The gluteus minimus, it arises from the posterior ilium in between the inferior and the anterior gluteal line, and it inserts upon the greater trochanter of the femoral upper end. The innervation or the nerve supply is from the superior gluteal nerve, and the blood supply is from the superior gluteal artery. Its action is abduction and medial rotation of the thigh. The tensor fasciata is a small muscle. It arises from the anterior superior iliac spine, present at the anterior aspect of the iliac crest. From this particular point, another long muscle of the anterior compartment of the thigh arises, that is called the sartorius muscle. It inserts in the iliotibial tract, and through the iliotibial tract it goes downward and inserts on the lateral aspect of the tibia and stabilizes the knee joint. The nerve supply is superior gluteal nerve, and the blood supply is superior gluteal artery and lateral branch of the circumflex femoral artery. The action is abduction, medial rotation, stabilization of the hip and that of the knee joint. Now the lateral rotators of the thigh. In the diagram, in order from above downward, first is the piriformis, second is the gemellus superior, the third is the obturator internus, and the fourth is the gemellus inferior, and the fifth is the quadratus femoris muscle. The piriformis muscle, it arises from the second, third and fourth jointed sacral vertebrae. It inserts upon the greater trochanter present upon the upper end of the femur bone. Its nerve supply is from the sacral plexus, anterior primary rami of the L5, S1 and S2. The blood supply is from the inferior and superior gluteal arteries. Its function is hip lateral rotation. This muscle passes through the a foramen that is called the greater sciatic foramen, through which the well-known sciatic nerve also passes. The sciatic nerve passes underneath this particular muscle, and sometimes this muscle, due to some reasons, goes in spasm and presses upon the sciatic nerve and causes pain in the distribution of the sciatic nerve. The superior gemellus, it arises from the spine of the ischial bone and inserts upon the greater trochanter of the upper end of the femur. It receives its nerve supply from the sacral plexus, the lumbar 5, the S1 and S2 segments. The blood supply is from the inferior gluteal artery, and it is a hip lateral rotator. The inferior gemellus also arises from the ischial tuberosity, and it inserts upon the upper end of the femur bone, the greater trochanter, as it is shown in the diagram. The nerve supply is different from the superior gemellus, and it receives the nerve supply from nerve to quadratus femoris muscle. The blood supply is from inferior gluteal artery as that for the superior gemellus, and its action is also the hip lateral rotator. The obturator internus, it arises from the external border of the obturator foramen of the iliac bone and the obturator membrane. It inserts upon the intertrochanteric fossa of the upper end of the femur, the fossa between the greater and the lesser trochanter. The nerve supply is from the sacral plexus L5, S1 and S2 segments. The blood supply it receives from inferior gluteal artery, and as the other muscles, it is also a hip lateral rotator and also an abductor of the joint. The quadratus femoris muscle. It is quadrangular in shape as is shown in the diagram, and it arises from the ischial tuberosity of the ischium bone and inserts upon the intertrochanteric crest, and its nerve supply is the nerve to quadratus femoris, and its root value is L4, L5 and S1. The blood supply it receives from medial circumflex femoral artery and internal pudendal artery and the inferior gluteal artery. Its action is hip lateral rotation. Now in the given diagram you can see the iliac bone and the sacral. They form the sacroiliac joint. Below the sacroiliac joint, the iliac bone is converted into a notch-like structure up to the ischial spine. This is called the greater sciatic notch, in which the GSF is written. In the below the ischial spine, up to the ischial tuberosity, is another small notch that is called the lesser sciatic notch. Now, these are notches and will be converted into foramina by bridging of these notches by means of the ligaments. Sacrotuberous ligaments arise from the sacrum and inserts upon the ischial tuberosity. Sacrospinous ligaments they arise from the sacrum and insert upon the ischial spine. So the area above the ischial spine, above the sacrospinous ligament, is called the greater sciatic foramen, and below the spine of the ischium up to the tuberosity is the lesser sciatic foramen. In these two foramina, the greater sciatic foramen and the lesser sciatic foramen, these are the two important foramina which are the passageway for the structures from behind from the gluteal region into the posterior thigh or the upper limb. Now, after having an understanding of the sciatic foramina, let us know something about the structures they pass through the sciatic foramina, the lesser and the greater sciatic foramen. First of all, we take the greater sciatic foramen. If you recall the study of your lateral rotators, you will find there the piriformis muscle. It was passing through the greater sciatic foramen. Now these structures in passing through the greater sciatic foramen are divided into two: the structures above and the structures below the piriformis. The structures passing above the piriformis are superior gluteal vessels, that is the artery and the vein, and the superior gluteal nerves. The structures passing below the piriformis are the inferior gluteal vessels and the inferior gluteal nerves. The sciatic nerve, the posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, the nerve to quadratus femoris, these all pass through the sciatic foramen. But there are some structures, they pass through the sciatic foramen and re-enter the lesser sciatic foramen and enters the pelvic region again. These are the pudendal nerve and the pudendal vessels and the nerve to obturator internus. These structures They pass through the sciatic foramen and goes back in the pelvic region through the lesser sciatic foramen. Structures passing through the lesser sciatic foramen. All the structures level with stars and the tendon of obturator internus muscle, they pass through the lesser sciatic foramen and go back to the pelvic region. The structures that passes through the greater sciatic foramen goes on the back of the thigh, and this is the passageway in the gluteal region from the trunk to the lower limb, also called the passageway or the tunnel through which the structures pass to the lower limb from the gluteal region. In this diagram, we can see the structures passing through the greater sciatic foramen. Let us concentrate upon the diagram showing the nerves. You can see the piriformis muscle passing through the greater sciatic foramen. Above the piriformis, you can see the superior gluteal nerve. Below the piriformis, you can see the posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, the sciatic nerve, and the gluteal nerve. These all three nerves, they are passing down on the back of the thigh region to the lower limb. The pudendal nerve is also been mentioned over here, and it passes, it goes back to the pelvic region through the lesser sciatic foramen. In the other diagram, you can see the superior gluteal artery passing above the piriformis muscle through the greater sciatic foramen, and below the piriformis muscle you can see the inferior gluteal artery and the internal pudendal artery. The inferior gluteal artery will go to the gluteal region, and the internal pudendal artery will go back to the pelvic region through the lesser sciatic foramen. Now some clinical conditions about the gluteal region. The Trendelenburg sign. It is due to paralysis of the abductor muscles. The causes are the fracture of the neck of the femur, the hip dislocation, and paralysis of the abductor muscles. The result is inability to abduct the hip joint. The Trendelenburg sign. The patient shows a drop of pelvis when lifting the leg opposite to weak gluteus medius muscle. Normally, both of the glutei muscles, they maintain the normal position, and they do not allow the pelvis to drop. But if the one of the gluteus right or left medius is paralyzed, the contralateral side is dropped, and the patient will adopt a limping gait. The piriformis syndrome. Taut piriformis muscle irritates and compresses the sciatic nerve and results in pain in the buttocks, refers in line of the sciatic nerve, and this condition is called the sciatica. There used to be pain, tingling, numbness in the buttocks, and the pain is triggered on climbing. This is a diagnostic criteria for the piriformis syndrome. The management or treatment of the piriformis syndrome. These are piriformis stretching, corticosteroids, and the surgical intervention. The piriformis stretching is shown in this diagram. Take the affected side, cross it over the opposite leg, bending affected leg at the knee, and then drawing the knee to the opposite side of the shoulder. This position is called the fair position, in which there is flexion, adduction, and internal rotation of the affected limb. Thank you, students. With this, we have finished our task of today. For till next meeting, wish you have a good time. Thank you.